Since you are an expert on the Oracle products as well, how do you see these big software vendors adapt to these new virtualization challenges, which prove to be often incompatible with their old licensing strategies?
I think this is again a good question, because we all forget we are talking about hypervisors, and in my speech today I spoke about Virtualization 2.0. Virtualization 3.0 is where we start looking at applications, and vendors like Oracle, Microsoft, SAP, they have different strategies. So just to give an example of SAP is not developing an hypervisor, so they're happy to support any hypervisor, no problems. Oracle has a product, and this product runs per CPU. And Oracle it's going to be difficult for them to put their support for other parties when they have their own product today, or Oracle VM. But that cross-platform and cross-licensing, they have to start looking outside their domains and try to see that there are going to be a lot of customers who have VMware, right, who are Oracle customers. So I think the licensing has to be, it's going to be a very important issue to be in the coming years, because when we have hypervisor ready, and when you have your management tools ready, it's the licensing. For example, today Microsoft released the licensing issues, or the licensing of its Office product for its, the new application virtualization platform, which is SoftGrid formerly. But they're going to license it happily for their own hypervisor, but they might pose challenges to other vendors. And that is a problem, because as a customer, you're going to be, you will have problems adopting getting support from these vendors, because an application vendor is going to say that run on my hypervisor, and I will not provide you support for some other external alien hypervisor, so to speak.
So to Oracle, VMware is alien now?
Yeah, hypervisor battles have intensified, and we have seen in the last couple of weeks a lot of intensification taking place, and a lot of vendors like Sun and Oracle, they're coming up into the market with their Zen products, Zen-based products. But you also have other vendors like Hitachi with Virtage. We haven't heard of Virtage, or Virtage, I don't know how you pronounce it. And Phoenix with its BIOS-based hyperspace. So there are on several domains in that x86 architecture, a lot of hypervisors are coming in. But when coming back to the answer, application support is the key to your business survivability. If you are running problems with your applications and support and licensing, then your competitive advantage is all gone.
What do you think about the recent Oracle announcement to only continue standard support for this database running on its own Oracle VM, which it quickly had to soften after negative reaction from its user base, where many turned out to be loyal VMware fans? How does Oracle get away with rebranding Xen as Oracle VM without even publishing and documenting their tweaked code?
Okay, let me be the devil's advocate here, okay? Just to, not a rhetorical question, I'm going to answer it myself. But VMware took, the VMware's console-based operating system is Red Hat Linux 3. That was once an open source, and today it's proprietary. So I think, I'm not defending Oracle or offending VMware or whatever, but I think VMware has just about equal responsibility to try to explain what did you do with that open source Red Hat Linux, and you created your own virtual hypervisor out there.
It also seems a huge GPL license issue on intellectual property to me, as these companies take commercial advantage of the Xen community effort in the open source domain to secure vendor lock-in in the IT industry again.
I think not just IT coming back, I think it's an ethical question, and today we are moving towards a more community influenced innovation, and that is really gaining traction. So community influenced innovation is really becoming, with web we are connected, we are collaborating. What comes around goes around. So what goes around comes around. Let me just turn around. So I think eventually the value of the products are going to be found back into where they came from. So it's a big ethical question, and there is a little discomfiture between the open source groups and the closed source, and how they kind of hijacked my idea. So there is some sort of in the subconscious, and then I'm talking about the whole web semantics, the subconscious of that open source developer, the fact that their idea was stolen. So I know there have been talks about, and we have followed the listserv, some really heated discussions about some open source developers in Linux who have asked some serious questions from VMware. And I think time is going to tell how this ethical issue is going to be handled.
This sure raises a maintenance and security issue on the transparency of these tweaked Xen clones. Imagine Xen releasing critical security updates. It is not clear how this would impact these tweaked closed code versions, and how fast similar patches will become available for these Xen-derived platforms.
I think the transparency is lost immediately when you start closing it down and boxing it up. The interoperability, I think then we are talking about how you develop business models and how you start making your box model.
How are companies going to adopt their licensing models? I think about ERP systems, accounting software, message brokers, databases, and other off-the-shelf back-office systems. How are software vendors going to make money when they can no longer base it on servers or CPUs, because they simply cannot measure those physical units in a virtual environment any longer?
I think what is going to eventually happen, it's a good question again, because that is the Virtualization 4.0 where I talked about, is the whole SaaS model, software as a service, pay as you go. I'm working on several models and frameworks where you have smaller lines of businesses. You could be a customer. It's just like Amazon. Amazon has its charging model, which is a couple of cents, dollars per hour, per gigabyte kind of rates. So these are very challenging. I think that is going to be the key. And I can imagine every software vendor or even an internal IT manager envies Amazon, because that is the way to charge your people on hour basis. It's like the utility bill. It's like that big light that is right now shining on my head. The minute it turns down, I've paid my bills and I can move on. So I think that is what is going to happen. The evolution of licensing is going to go into pay-as-you-go model. So you pay as you go, and when you're done, you're done. You don't have to keep paying the licenses.
That seems pretty bad news for many major software vendors. As we all know, there are lots of unused licenses laying around companies, and there are many over-dimensioned systems and oversold solutions at client sites. Their revenues will be impacted by the software as a service model.
They are definitely going to feel in the revenues, but they are the ones who should champion this cause. They are the ones, if they want to survive, and if they have other ideas, if they want to build up walls to try to prevent this, then it's a bad news. But if they champion this cause, they can come out winners. And I think we're going to see a couple of big parties like Microsoft coming up with these kind of models. Amazon is definitely one of those pioneers in these pay-as-you-go model, where you pay per hour, the typical utility billing. And you can drill it down, and you can kind of pay customers, the customers can pay using that service. When you're done using the service, you should be able to move on. I think it's going to create a lot of value. I think the revenue is not going to deteriorate. It is going to just get optimal. It is going to be utilized effectively, and I think there is a great possibility that you will win the trust of your customers.
Thanks a lot, Tarry.
You're welcome.
Another exclusive interview brought to you by Virtualization.com.